This is the SF Productions Podcast Network.
Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of Vast Wasteland.
The Secret Square. Could it be Bob Denver, Karen Valentine, Walt, the cast of Soap, Henry Winkler, Mr. Ed and Wilbur, Marty J. Wiley, Mark Snidbauer, and in the center square, Wilbert Neal. All on the new
Is Tuesday at 6, Wednesdays at 10, Thursdays at 3. At Darren Pamela Furton. Oh, no, not another Burgess Meredith show.
Welcome to the place your parents didn't understand.
The world of 60s and 70s television.
Welcome to Vast Wasteland.
Welcome home.
I'm Marty Willow.
And tonight we're going to have a special episode of Vast Wasteland, as we have a guest.
And like Tanya says, it's a sad dog that don't wag its own tail, so we brought Tail to wag tonight.
And if you're, see, we have a guest.
We have a guest.
We'll introduce our guest
We
in
don't
just
have
a
Mark.
moment. But first, we'll say that we are on, we'll give the times that we're on. We're on Wednesdays at 10 p.m., Thursdays at 3 p.m., Saturdays maybe, and other times possibly.
Middle of the night when you're
drunk.
drunk.
We just plain don't know what those other times are because basically they're not written down anywhere. They're just whimsy.
The whimsical hours.
And if you want to write us and ask us what this whimsy's all about, we're at Vast Wasteland, Box 151411, Columbus, Ohio, 43215.
Somebody's getting a laugh out of it. Okay.
And then if you want to do the cyber mail thing and
Email.
if you're sick of the flesh
20th
mail and
century.
you want to do the cyber mail thing, there's email. And here's the email address. And there it is. And I'm not even going to try to say what it all is. And then there's the web page, which may be changing soon. So get out there and start punching those keys now, because before you're finished, it could be different.
That's right. That's long enough. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So enough of that cyberness. Now on to the real thing here. We've got a guest this evening once again. This is a member of our crew actually, but she does more than that, and that's what we're going to talk to her about this evening. This is Mary Hooker Myers. Hi, Mary.
Hi. Mary's usually in the room, TDing, yelling at people, whatnot.
Telling them what to do, what not to do, and when to do it.
But the reason we got Mary on here tonight is because Mary won a Philo Award. Tell them what the Philo is.
Philo is a regional award that they give out to public access shows. And in my case, I did a show on how to get started in homeschooling here in Ohio.
And
And
that was like 2 years of your life putting the show
2
together.
years of my life putting that show together. Quite honestly, it took a long time. I had to redo it. I had you on the first time that we tried to tape it, and
Well, on camera, not
yeah.
on camera, but behind the camera.
behind the camera working on it, and that didn't go for real well. The sound quality just got totally lost, so we started over again, and then Frank and Mort, the other crew members, helped me out setting it up again and trying again, and finally, through all the editing and everything else and typing, finally finished it, an hour, 40 minutes worth of tape. So
What's the next step from Philo to what next?
the Hometowns, which is the national awards. So we're going to turn that in and see if we can't win a national to boot.
All
So,
right.
but I needed just the Philo. That's what I needed because I want to try to get it closed caption, and I can't afford it. So we're going to try for a grant to get it closed caption. So then we're going to pass it out to the library system, and then everybody can see it.
I was going to say, is it going to be aired again on 21?
Oh, yeah. It will play again in January, in fact, for
So we'll be able
special
to
programming week.
Announce
so.
that for Special Programming Week in January. Everything you want to know about. Is there an actual title? What's the actual title?
Getting started in homeschool.
Getting started in homeschool.
Not very imaginative, but it works.
Well, it gets the point across,
Yes.
which is what you have to do in this case. And I know there are people who want to see it because, being that I work in a library, people come in and ask for that kind of information. So,
Yeah, and that was the whole purpose behind doing this, was to get the information out. And like I said, my next step is to get it copied off and get it out to the libraries. And
Now,
that way people can get 'em.
I'm going to take a step backwards here. How is it that you know all about this homeschooling thing?
Oh, I know all about homeschooling because guess what? I homeschool my son. And being that there's a lot of information to learn, I figured it was just so much nicer to have a videotape around that gives it an all-one big compact set. So
That's good, because I know there are several books that talk about homeschooling, but each one might give a little bit of information, or they might try to do all of it, but each one goes from a different angle, and it's a lot of people would really rather just see something than try to read everything and try to gather up all the information.
well,
So
you focused on homeschooling in this area,
Yes.
particularly
in Ohio.
in
The rules
Ohio,
regarding Ohio, yes.
because it varies from state to state, area to
very much
area, and all that,
Yeah.
from what I understand.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have people that have moved from another state and need to know, what do I do in Ohio? So hang in
Well,
there,
I
there'll
could
be a
give you-
video available.
Yeah, I could give you one really good example about the difference. Here in Ohio, you just send in your paperwork. You don't have to belong to any organization whatsoever. In Colorado, though, you have to belong to a charter school before you can homeschool. So it's a whole different set of rules going on there than here. So, yeah.
Any plans to ever do a video national, compare homeschooling here, homeschooling
I
there,
thought about that.
state
I
by
thought about
state?
it. But the rules are so different. I mean, it was like 50 different versions.
yeah, you'd have to do almost
Because-
50 different videos.
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
Just one great big one, which
Roughly
was,
take
what would be
100 years.
nice is to set down at the end of the tape, well, these are the rules that are different for your state, and just tag it on to
Tagging
mine.
on to each one, brainstorming here as we sit.
So,
okay.
So cool. Yeah, because homeschooling is something that's done now. We had to go to school. I don't think there was really that option for us.
There was either you go to school or your parents go to jail, basically.
That's what they always told us. If you didn't go, the only way we realized by the time we got to high school, the only way you could get homeschooling was to get pregnant. Or have a terminal disease. And if you had a terminal disease, you weren't really too much into finishing high school anyway.
I had really bad asthma, so you had to stay home all the time.
Yeah, and then why bother?
I can remember a few of those, but they always sent the homework home, so you had to do the schoolwork anyway, whatever they gave you.
Well, I found out when I was in high school, a friend of mine became pregnant, and instead of letting her finish out the year, they sent a tutor to her house, like nobody knew what was going on. You know, they basically told her she could stay in school until she could no longer fit in the desks. And then she had to go home and have homeschooling with a tutor, but that was provided by the school. The homeschooling now, the parents take it on,
all by themselves.
undertake it, and so I'd kill my children.
Actually, what happens is the kids actually take off on their own. I mean, somewhere along the line, if they've been in school, they don't do it right away. I mean, they have to kind of unlearn the process where people hand you stuff and then you do it. But after a few years, they just kind of start taking on their own stuff. Well, I want to learn about this. You know.
How does a homeschool kid graduate?
Well, interesting you should bring that up. Here in Ohio, you have a couple ways of doing that. One, you can just not worry about it because a lot of colleges will take a homeschooler without a degree. They don't care about if you could pass the SAT. They could care less.
That's all they need.
Yep. You could take the GED. You can't take that until you're, I believe,
that's true,
17 or 18, something like that. Or you can apply to a homeschooling school. There's a number of those around, and they, like the University of Indiana, offers a high school program for kids, and you can get a college degree off of it. There's something called unschooling that's done quite a bit with homeschoolers, and that's where the kid pretty much takes on their own learning. They don't learn by the normal. They don't write everything down. They don't work in workbooks. They read, do a lot of reading and that type of thing. And there's a school, you set up your curriculum yourself. There's a school that lets you keep on setting up your own curriculum, and then you just keep track of the amount of hours that they put into each subject. And then you apply it towards what's called Carnegie hours of credit. And then when you get a certain amount of credits, you get a high school diploma.
Oh.
So,
and you don't have to wear that embarrassing cap and gown.
So this is
Unless you really want
unless
to
you
now.
really want to, yeah, this place actually offers you could go up there and graduate with everybody else if you really want to do it.
So that's where those people come in that, you know, they're up there and they graduate, but you've never seen them all year.
Well, that's mostly I noticed when I graduated college. It's like I'm sitting next to people. I'm like, who are you? Do we actually go to school together? Nice to meet you.
And now this is all done kind of by mail, or are they getting into doing it on the internet now?
A lot of places are getting into the internet now. There's a number of schools out on the internet that will, I mean, just do it right over the net. But I mean, cost is very prohibitive unless you're somebody that's really loaded. This is not something that's easy to do on the internet right now. So maybe it will come down, but right now it's kind of expensive as far as that goes. So.
Okay, once again, Mary Hooker Myers, won Philo Award winner, our technical director for the past few years. Yeah. Now we'll let her talk about what she really wants to talk about.
Now on to the fun stuff.
Mary is kind of the in-house expert on Babylon 5, which comes on too late for me. I fall asleep, so all I know is it's a space show with people with spots.
Well, some have spots, some have not.
Yes. And the ones with spots have acted in The Fugitive, no less. That was quite a trip to see him in The Fugitive after finding out that he had done both of them. The man with no arm.
Okay.
Yep,
the one-armed guy.
The one-armed guy. He plays one of the characters on Babylon 5, and he's in like full facial makeup, so you don't really recognize him unless you've heard the voice in both places, and you're going, oh, goodness.
Well, the only reason I know about the spots is because at Marcon, and they did the Monster Bake Off, and they did the Babylon 5 character, and they go, that's really cool. Oh, that's on TV.
But it's been on, it's now into its 5th season.
Yeah, and this will be the last season.
Last season, and it's been a real struggle for them. They've had to fight every year to keep the series going. Yes. And he only won it 5 years, too.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, why 5 years?
He only wrote it out for 5 years. He wrote out pretty much all the contracts for 5 years for the actors, crew, the whole 9 yards.
That's Michael Straczynski, right?
Straczynski, yes, because he just really did not want to get into one of these long-term type of programs.
Is he thinking spin-off on it or anything, or he's just
yeah,
basically?
there is going to be a spin-off. They finally decided that. I don't remember what it's going to be called, but it's about a group of warriors called the Rangers that are on it. And they're going to have their own little spin-off and be able to do that. But I just found out that TNT has definitely picked it up. The original series, starting from right at the beginning, plus 3 movies, brand new movies that have never been seen.
Made-for-TV movies?
Made-for-TV movies.
So they're going to...
Actually, the funny thing is, he shoots this as if it was going to be shown in a movie theater.
Okay.
It is shot as a widescreen production. And then he tailors it down for TV.
It gets
so
formatted.
It could be shown in a movie theater very easily.
Does he do that for like the overseas market, or does he do that hoping that people who like to go to marathons would love to see it in a marathon and have a good time on the big screen with it?
Thinking I should write him and say, look, you know, if you sent, 2 episodes at a time to movie theater and let people go in and watch it in a movie theater, I can guarantee you pack that movie theater every time. But
listen to her. She won an award.
Could definitely do it with that. But the 3 new movies is really excellent that TNT picked up on that.
Now there's going to be produced by Turner, or it's a joint effort?
Joint effort. And the new movie will go back into... There was this whole beginning that they really kind of just touched on, and it was called the Minbari Human War. And it was just mentioned. It had already gone on before when the series had started. It was already over and long gone. So now they're going to go into that. Before they even start the original series, they're going to play this movie that will explain about the Minbari Human War, which is like great, because it's like one of those things I've always been kind of curious about, because one of the reasons why it was stopped was some interaction between the Minbari and a human. And so they really didn't go into it real heavy within the show, so now they'll get into it much heavier.
So it's going to be like a prequel?
A prequel, yeah.
And then they're going to pick up the series after that?
Yes, then they'll pick up the pilot movie that they had.
Okay.
And then all the series right in order. And
so those of us who missed it because we couldn't stay, because they'd put this show on, like the only times I've really seen it is when I'd be like over at your place and it'd be like 2 o'clock in the morning or some really late time, and then by that time I couldn't follow.
Well, that's another thing about this series that's so unusual. It's a continuous story. It's not episode. It's like a continuation of an ongoing story. So it's like
drama.
A big, huge miniseries.
Well, it's not a miniseries.
5-year miniseries.
It's a 5-year miniseries.
It's a maxi series.
And so if you don't catch it at the beginning, you kind of lose some of the hints and clues that have been dropped before. But I guess when TNT picks it up, it's going to be on prime time, and that's what they're talking about, prime time.
A decent hour when the kids can watch it.
Yeah.
Or the people who fall asleep early.
I've gotten to the point where I stick a tape in when I'm trying to watch it, because it's so late on at night that I find myself falling asleep. So I've jammed the tape in there. And
I had to give up taping shows because then I never had time to watch the shows I taped. Except if I get a chance to sit down on the weekend. I used to do speed watch, the soap opera.
Yes.
Just tape a whole week's worth, sit down on a Saturday and just put it on fast forward and watch a week's worth of soap operas in like an hour. Because as long as you don't have to know what they're saying, but this isn't a show where you can really do that. You've got to follow it because it's an intricate story.
Yes, and very much has the twists and turns, and that's the funny thing is I equate it a lot like a soap opera. You're getting very much involved with the people in their lives. It isn't just the big story, this person fighting this person or this group fighting this group. It's an intricate story going on, storyline of soap opera. That's how I see soap operas. They're very intricate, interweaved and so forth.
But predictable after a couple of years.
Well, that's the advantage of this one. It's not predictable. He has never been predictable about his shows at all. He throws things at you like he killed off one of the main characters. Just a couple episodes. I mean, he's dead. He's gone. It's like.
And no evil twin has shown up.
No evil twin is going to show up. He's gone. He kills a character. It's gone.
No chance to come up in an alternative universe.
Yeah, no dream. See what's going on here. You're dead. So, and he's killed off main characters, but he has a number of main characters too, which really helps. So, like a soap opera has a number of main characters. When you kill off a main character, they still have plenty
to fall back on.
Yep. So
keep the story going.
It should be interesting, but it was really great to find out they had a 5th season. What's unusual is the show they're going to be showing this coming week is supposed to be the last one, or at least I believed it was because of what I had read out on the web and so forth. And I kind of thought about why are they doing this, but one of the characters had left the show.
Oh.
She refused to sign on for the 5th season.
Well, you're dead.
No, they're not even going to kill her off. They're just going to send her out, And that's the funny thing. This character that just died saving her, and she's leaving the show.
The nerve.
Just couldn't take the pressure.
Look at Bobby Martin. Bobby Martin was sent to his room in the first year of All My Children and has yet to come out of his room. So they could just Bobby Martin her.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's what they're going to do. She's going to go off on a ship and have this meditative state, and she'll be gone. So.
But there's a door open if she comes around and decides.
I hope they don't open it. I like the other character. I was angry when he died. I was really irked about that. So I was like, shoot, they should just let her character die instead. If they would have known in time, they could have killed her off right then and there.
Well, that's a nice negotiating point.
Yeah.
Back when the other guy was trying to save her, huh?
Yes.
Just let her die.
Yeah. But they bring up some really interesting things on that. What's good, what's evil. Because they had this whole war where you thought one group was really evil. They were called the Shadows. And then you had the Vorlons, and you thought, these are really good people, But then you find out, well, neither one's really good or bad. They're just
shade of
people.
Yeah.
People, shades of gray.
Gray, yeah.
So it kind of throws you for a whole loop. And
you were telling me one part about it, about a color war between the same.
Oh yeah.
The
Drazies.
Yeah.
The green Drazies and the purple Drazies, which was just it was one of the more humorous ones that they had going on. This group of aliens, every so often within their culture, would go to a container and pull out belts of either green or purple. And that determined which side you were on. And if you got a special belt that had this ribbon lacing, then you were the leader of that particular group, wherever you were. So this battle starts going on, and it gets rather vicious. I mean, people are starting to die. I mean, a couple of people ended up seriously injured and dying. So they're wondering, okay, how much longer is this going to go on? And the guy says, well, something like 2 weeks. That's what it translates out to. She goes, oh, okay, well, that's not too bad. And then you come out to find out that their 2 weeks is more like 2 years.
Because of the time differential and the change.
Yeah. And so she goes, all right, this is enough. I've had it. So she takes both the leader belts and puts them on. And she goes, I am now the leader of the purple, I am now the leader of the green. You're going to do what I say, basically. It was like, man, it was just that simple. And she stopped the whole thing, right? But this whole thing about fighting because you have a green belt or purple belt was just so funny.
Sneeches.
Yeah.
It's kind of surprising that sci-fi didn't want to pick up on this one, because I know Babylon 5 has a pretty strong following in Columbus. And it just seems like Sci-Fi Channel usually tries to pick up on stuff like that.
Yeah.
But didn't go on this one. Turner grabbed it instead.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have enough.
Yes, Turner really liked it too. So.
It's nice when you have a fan in that has like $1 billion million to just. I kind of think it's neat where he's like, because a lot of British shows will do they have endings. They run their series and it has an end, and so, but it's unusual for American television to actually think ahead and say,
yep,
5 years, that's all. I'm going to kick that thing off the table. 5 years, that's it.
Yep.
So,
And the show's gone.
yeah, what's the projection for the spin-off? Is it 2
I think
years?
he's
That's
trying to
it.
do. I think he's trying to do the same thing with a 5-year limit. I get the feeling he thinks that a 5-year limit, at least from speeches that I've heard from him, a 5-year run is a very good run for a show because you're not so tired of the characters that you wanna scream and
he has time to kill off everybody that you hate.
I guess time possibly to develop another series.
Yep. Develop another series and spin it off and run it for 5 years and heck.
This
can't
isn't
do
a
that.
show with a lot of toys, is it?
No.
No.
Well, you're the... What kind of figures are out there?
I don't think they ever really did any Babylon 5 figures per se. They had
the Micro Machine.
They had the micro machines
Yep.
of the different ships, but even those now are hard to find.
Very hard. Yeah.
Like if you didn't get them when they first hit, you'd have a heck of a time
And
finding
they had
them now.
very limited ones out here too. I think they had like 3 of the 5 that you could find around here. So it was really hard to find. I grabbed them up as fast as I had a feeling they weren't going to stick around very long. So,
Oh, shoot.
well, I also wanted to mention too, behind Babylon 5 on Saturday evenings, they had started running Gene Roddenberry's project before he died, this thing called Earth: The Final Conflict. Now, I'm not sure if I like the show yet or not. I haven't decided. Some of it tends to be a little, I don't know, sappy.
Okay.
But some of it's got some very interesting concepts in it. And I wish it would get a little bit more away from the sappiness and try to go more with the action-adventure type thing. So we'll see how that
And
goes.
that one I haven't seen either, because if it's running after Babylon 5, I'm already
And that's how I caught it.
dead in the bed, yeah.
Sticking the tape in, and I went to bed and left it in and came back and took a look at some of the parts I wanted to, and I realized there was another whole show on behind this. I'm going, oh.
And Majel Barrett Roddenberry,
Yeah.
to say it right.
It's the
The
executive
person that I
producer.
talked to had no idea who I was talking to, but
Yep.
if it wasn't for Robert, I never would have known.
Yeah, she's pretty much been in every
Yeah, she
project
was
that
nurse.
she was Nurse Chapel in the
Nurse
Star
Chapel.
Trek series. She was #1 in the pilot episode.
She's the voice of the computer.
Yeah, she's the voice of all the computers on all the shows, really.
She was,
Luxana Troy on
Yes.
Next Generation and
well,
DS9
and all that.
too.
And we're winding down.
yes.
So we thank Mary, our technical director, our Philo winner, our Babylon 5 fan, an all-around sci-fi person. And next time we'll be here.
And who knows what we'll be
Maybe with
doing.
Mark if he's getting better and all that.
We just don't know what'll happen.
Wink, wink, and all that. And we'll just keep talking until Mort tells us to shut up. So whatever.